Etepu, Namaste, Haru Nefer. This is Kasak Ma Kiparu with another exciting video for you. In this video, I want to talk about the secret technique it's actually the secret technique for manifestation that no one will teach you. But before I give you that secret, I want you to hit the like button below. And if this is your first time to my channel, welcome. Hit the subscribe button to get notifications on when I go live or upload new videos. And also, we have free ebooks, and you can click on the link below. And we have a lot of ebooks that deal with the subject matter that I cover in these videos, such as the esoteric and spirituality. And those ebooks can take you to the next level. Most of them are free, so sign up today. Also, consider becoming a Patreon supporter. As a supporter, you get access to exclusive videos that teach you about spirituality, how to perform a ritual, how to use oracle cards, how to contact spirits, how to travel to alternate parallel realities. I'm not kidding. There are instructional videos on that. So become a Patreon supporter for as little as $1 or $5 per month. So welcome. Namaste. I want to talk about this secret manifestation trick that not many people are aware of. You know, the other day, this young woman came to me, very pretty young woman, very pretty, came up to me and she was crying. And I said, well, what's wrong, you pretty young thing? And she says, Kasak, I just can't manifest things that I want. And I said, well, what are you trying to manifest? She's like, I'm trying to manifest me getting with you. I was like, oh, okay. All right, let's talk about that, you know? So, of course, one of my wives were standing by, and she said, kind of whispered into my ear, because my wife is very understanding of these things. And she was like, whisper into my ear, get rid of that girl. I'm going to kick her ass. So we had to end the conversation real quick. All right, I kid. All right. I'm just stalling to give some time for my Magi's to come into the chat room. But really, it's been interesting because my reading for this year was a 35th hexagram out of the I-ching. Now, if you follow the I-ching oracle, which is translated means the way, you should be doing a reading every month and every year. That way you know what's coming at you. There's no surprises in life because the oracles will reveal to us what we can expect. So the oracle was telling me things about this year that I keep forgetting. For example, I was introduced to this guy who was supposed to be helping me on a project. And it was weird because right away, he just started doing all these favors for me. And I was like, why is this guy doing all these favors and getting nothing out of it? And then I remember, this has been my theme for the year, the 36th hexagram talks about progress. And my best friend, who we were in priesthood together, I remember him explaining the hexagram to me. And if you don't know the I-ching oracle, what a hexagram is or what a trigram is, then we're going to start classes on Patreon. So make sure that you're watching for the notification of when those classes start. If you're not a member, become a member. So my friend was explaining to me that the 35th hexagram says progress, but it's the type of progress that you get when you have people help you. So it means that you're going to have individuals come out of the woodworks to assist you. And I remember that's really been happening this week. And well, I'm sorry, not this week, but this year. So I'm very grateful and thankful for all of the help that people have given me this year. It's been really phenomenal, you know, because this year was a challenging year, of course. When I've encountered those challenges, I've always encountered people willing to help me to overcome those challenges. And where there was what seemed to be insurmountable challenges, I relied on my magic. I started working my magic. And I got more powerful this year as well, which is really, really great. You know, as a magi, if you're working your magic every day and you're practicing, because it's like lifting weights, your muscle gets stronger, you get spiritually stronger. And practice as a magi is what you're supposed to be doing. That makes you good. okay? And we know there's no one size fits all, because with magic, I can give you a spell that works for me, but it may not work for you because your belief system is different. So you have to take that into consideration. So things have to be tailored specifically for you, or you should be doing things that make you feel comfortable. You can read in a book about a ritual and you perform that ritual and it doesn't work for you. A lot of times the ritual has a lot of things in it that are just there to get you psychically into the mood. But you don't need to do all of those things in the ritual. And if you're not comfortable with it, then it's not going to come to manifestation for you. So do what's comfortable, okay? There's no fixed rules because it's a right brain thing. The right brain is dynamic. It doesn't go by a paradigm. So just go by what's comfortable for you and things will work out, okay? So one of the things I want to talk about is that, you know, as a magi, I practice every day, probably around 4 or 5 hours a day. I wish I can do it more, but I'm very busy because I'm always shooting a production or, you know, I'm on the set. And the one thing that I kind of am proud of myself is that I do devote a lot of time to applying this knowledge. And there's still a long way to go. And I advise for all of you who want to reach that next level. And what I mean by that next level is having the life that you want to have. Do not be satisfied with the way things are. You should be always trying to go for more. I don't care what that is. That could be a job, that could be a house, that could be a car, it could be more money, you know, a sexy guy in your life, or girl, whatever. But go for more and always look at it from the perspective of how do I acquire this thing using magic? Because we're very limited in how we see things in life. And I don't know if you took part in my Trance Mastery hypnosis session yesterday, but it was a great session, a very powerful session. And we talked about some really deep things. And one of the things we talked about was the belief system of the monetary value of things, meaning money itself. That's what I'm trying to say, money, which is a sigil in and of itself because it's green and it has all kinds of occult symbolism in there. But we are always limiting ourselves in how we can acquire things in life, because the first thing that comes to mind is, in order to have this particular thing, I must have the money to acquire it. And that right then and there limits you. So don't think in those terms. Never think that way, because then you're placing parameters on how something is to come to you. And we don't want to place parameters. In other words, you don't need to know how it's going to come to you. You just need to know that you want it. Do you understand? Let the universe work it out as to how it will come to you. All right? One of the books you need to get, and this is a fantastic book, I've talked about this before, is Super Accelerated Learning. And it's by Benito Masarai. I probably really chopped that name up. But in the book, he talks about how he wanted a house close to like a mansion. And he was visualizing and focusing on that. And someone actually gifted him the house. And it was remarkable. So he's not paying any mortgages. He's not, you know, he didn't have to come up with a loan to get this house. It's his. It was gifted to him. This is a picture of him on the back there. And we are so limited. That's the first thing that comes to our mind. For example, if we want a mate, and you know, of course, you want somebody who's you know, really, you know, handsome or beautiful. But the first thought goes in your mind is, I'm not worthy. I'm not up to that person's caliber. I'm not in their league. You shouldn't be thinking that way. All right. But just visualize yourself and see yourself with that person and let the universe set it up so that you meet them, or that there's some kind of connection. I'm jumping ahead of myself here. But I want to give you this technique that's really going to help accelerate your manifestation, to really bring things to you a lot quicker, because that is a problem that many of us magi's are having, is that I don't think people are complaining that it's not working. I think the majority of the complaint comes that it takes a while to work, a long time to work. And that is, in some cases, true, because the universe has to align certain things, synchronicity, to bring it to you. So we need to start looking at what we can do to quickly manifest this thing. All right. And one of the things that we can do that I've always advocated, and you'll read this in my ebook, The New Capital Ankh, the key to manifesting your reality. If you haven't gotten the ebook, you should order it. The link is below. Is one of the things I talk about doing is first doing an oracle reading to see if it's within your destiny to have that thing. Because if it's not within your destiny, no matter what you do, you will not have it. I don't care what kind of magic spell, powders, crystals you have, you're not going to get it. So make sure you do the reading first. That is a starting point. Now, what is the secret technique or trick that's going to get it to you quicker? The one thing that you're going to have to do is play a little mind game on yourself. All right. Now, the first thing that I talk about in my book, The New Capital Ankh, is the visualization or a slide. You need to be constantly visualizing what you want. And you can visualize it throughout the day, or you can do what I do is I sit down for 4 or 5 hours, go deep into trance, and then I conduct my visualization while I'm deep into trance. And the first thing I do is I get an oil, this is Delphic Dreams, and I place a little bit, because this takes you into trance, on my nose. And it smells really, really great, but it'll take me into trance. And I sit down there and I meditate. And basically, my meditation is I'm playing out a scenario. I'm seeing myself with the thing that I desire. And I'm seeing myself in all kinds of scenarios where, just for example, if I wanted a big house, I would see myself with the keys going into the house and then probably walking through each room, making a sandwich in the grand kitchen with my chef, and then going into the living room, going into my home theater. So I would be playing that scenario in my mind and making it very detailed. And I do this for 4 hours a day if I'm working on a particular objective. Okay, so that's what I would do. Now, many of you don't have that kind of time to sit down there and do that type of meditation. So what you need to do is you'll need to do quick meditation sessions that are no more than like 30 seconds or 60 seconds throughout your day. And all it is that while you're doing something, you can do a waking, what we call is a waking meditation or a waking trance state. It's very similar to daydreaming, where you visualize yourself with that thing and really embellish it, really go in there and feel it as if it were real, and do this several times throughout the day and continue this until it comes to manifestation. But even that may take some time. So let's get down to that secret technique I was talking about, all right, to bring it to you quicker. This is playing a little trick on your mind. So you might want to take notes, all right? So what you've got to do is trick the mind into thinking that you already have the thing. Let me say that again. You've got to trick the mind into thinking that you already have the thing, because the mind, or we'll say the indwelling intelligence, grants you your wish because you're God man, God woman. And by your command, it manifests things for you. Now, how do you command that spirit within? Not verbally. You're not saying, bring me a Maserati. No, you're not doing that. Bring me that penthouse. Bring me a briefcase with a $20 million. Actually, 24, because I like that number 24. No, you're not doing that because it won't respond. That's a left brain thing. The command that you must issue, because the universe works energetically, it is based on energy. So the command that you will issue to the indwelling intelligence within you is emotion. You must emotionally feel excited about the thing that you desire. And when you have that emotion combined with that visualization, then you are issuing a command to bring it to me. But now here's the trick. You can't tell it to bring it to you, because hidden within that command is a false command, meaning you now have said to yourself, I have lack. I don't have the thing. And that creates the problem. In the same way, if you're doing your work and you're visualizing every day and you are waiting for it to manifest, you've just issued a command in reverse. What do I mean by that? You are waiting, waiting, waiting for it to manifest. So what you are saying to the universe is, I don't have it. I don't have it. And you keep saying that over and over again. So the universe doesn't bring it to you. Because the universe is a reflection of your belief system, a reflection. All right? So it's reflecting back to you your desires, your fears. But if you turn the tables on it and you trick the mind into thinking that the object of your desire, you already have it. You already have it. You live your life as if it is already a part of your life. What do you mean? All right, so I want who's hot right now? I don't know. I don't pay attention to mainstream media. Let's just use Holly Berry. I want Holly Berry, right? So, or not Holly Berry, but somebody looks just like her, whatever. What do? Well, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to buy me some nice clothes because now I'm in a relationship. I'm going to start lifting weights and working out because now I'm in a relationship. And when I come home, I'm going to talk to her and speak to her, and I'm going to clean up as if I'm in this relationship. I am acting as if, and some of you may have heard this. And in my mind, she's real and she lives in my apartment. Oh, I'm working late. I got to get home because she'll be upset if I get home late because she wants me to spend time with her. Now, this may sound delusional, but it's not. What it is you're rejecting the current reality to replace it with the reality that you want. And you are feeling the emotion as if it is taking place in the present now moment, because what actually exists is only the present now moment, not the past, not the future. So if you act in accordance with you already having it, what does the subconscious mind, the spirit within you say? Wow, this is incongruent. Visually, I don't see that he has it, but emotionally, psychically, he has it. So I must manifest it for him. So it is the mirror effect. It is granting you what you believe to have already, what you believe that you possess already. See, when you fear something and you wonder why your fears always come to fruition, it's because you believe it's happening. It's like you may be driving and afraid that you're going to get into an accident. In your mind, you're playing that scenario as if it just happened because your physiology is reacting and you're getting nervous now. Because the mind doesn't differentiate between what scenario is playing out in his head and what is real. It doesn't know the difference. If one of the things that happen is if you have a son or a daughter, and many of you know this, you're so protective and you're so worried that if they're playing out in the backyard, that they're going to fall down and hurt themselves and cut themselves. And you worry so much, and then what happens? They fall down and hurt themselves. This is why we have to be mindful of our thoughts. On a daily basis, I am watching what I think, and especially the way I perceive myself. Because for a long time, the image that I held of myself was low self-esteem, incapable of doing things and pleasing people, wasn't good at magic, wasn't good at work, and I held these belief systems that just consequently manifested in my life. And I kept saying, why am I encountering these so-called bad luck? When I got into relationships, they ended bad because I had a low self-esteem. I didn't think I deserved to be with that partner, even though I was the shit, but whatever. So you have to trick the mind into believing that the thing that you want, you already have. This is why some of the best magicians have such a creative imagination. The most well-known scientist who could have revolutionized the planet besides Imhotep, who was a multi-genius from ancient Kemet. But besides him, Nikolai Tesla was a phenomenal scientist, inventing all kinds of things. And they asked him, how do you invent these things? He says, I first put it together in my mind. I create a 3D image in my mind, and I see myself building it. And I can test it in my mind to see if it will actually work. I put it through a testing process. So if you could visualize in your mind what you want and make it real and believe it's in the here and the now, it comes to you quicker. You'll get it quicker. But if you're constantly just visualizing it as a future objective and you're waiting, the waiting only begets more waiting. Because you are inadvertently telling the universe you have lack. You don't have it. So if you tell the universe you have lack, what does the universe give you? More lack. And then you come and you say, Cassant, this doesn't work. And I'm like, no, it does work. You're just applying it incorrectly. Now, what does this do when you trick the mind into thinking you already possess the thing that you're trying to achieve? We talked about freedom from outcome, and many of us have outcome dependence. What does that term mean, outcome dependence? It means that you have placed so much importance on getting the thing that you want that your happiness you're not free to be happy unless you achieve or have that thing. And that is a violation of Hedaru, the goddess Hedaru's truism. Hedaru says the joy is in the journey and not the destination. You must be happy with the way things are at the present now moment. Waiting to be happy when you acquire that thing is not going to work. Some people call it delayed gratification, whatever. You must experience the pleasure of having it now as if you have it. Make it real in your mind. I don't care what it is. When I wanted to go for a promotion at this tech company in New York, because the woman that was head of the department went out on maternity leave and then announced that she wouldn't come back. So what did I do? I moved into her office. I went in there and I set up the desk and I put my coat on the coat rack and I was like, okay, this is I got this job. 30 days later, HR called and said, hey, you want the position? It's yours. Because I was acting already as if. This is a powerful technique. Because what it does is it gives you the freedom from outcome. You're no longer dependent upon acquiring the object of your desire to be happy because you're already happy. So you become at peace. You're in an amen state. And from the amen state, all things come. From the nothingness to nothingness, then you have all things that manifest. And we know the first two goddesses that came out of nothingness are gods were Shu and Tefnut. So you have to learn how to trick your mind into believing you have it and experience the happiness of having it. And you may see me, if you were to work with me, I would suddenly start smiling. And you'll be like, what's going on? You just started smiling because I've envisioned that I have something. And I will act in accordance with that. Another thing that you can work with is the sexual energy, that Ra or Chi force. Because when you can evoke that energy within you, you can channel that into the visualization. Because the pleasure of sex is actually summoning a lot of the Kundalini Chi energy, or Ki, as the Japanese call it. And that's a powerful energy to manifest your stuff. The problem with that is, I'm giving you the insight to the occult, to the mystical secrets that Aleister Crowley and all those who came before him practice. It is hard to maintain that. You probably do it 2 or 3 times, but then after a while, it exhausts you trying to summon that sexual energy to manifest your desire. We don't need to do that though. Just go back to what I was telling you. Just act as if and feel positive and happy as if you already possess it. And then the mind will realize there's an incongruency, and then it will work on your behalf to manifest that thing. It has to. It has to resolve that conflict of what it sees and what's going on in your imagination. They're two diametrically opposed things, and only one can exist. So if you're rejecting this reality, this 4D experience, in favor of what's going on in your mind, then the universe starts to manifest it as a 4D experience. And that's a wonderful thing. Then you see magic performed in front of your eyes. But we don't have to think about the details of how it has to happen. We just need to know what we want and let the universe figure out the details. Let me, out of respect to the master magi's in the chat room, let me greet them. Hetepu, Linda, spiritual innovation, namaste. Ma'atsan, hetepu. Shalea Miranda, hetepu. Nikki, nice to see you, namaste. And Hango Stone, I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name. Haru Nefer, Michael Scott, Haru Nefer, Haru El Ra, hetepu. Drew Isis, namaste. Limited species, hetepu. Spiritual elevation, I think I greeted you. Thank you for being in the chat room and listening to this message. It's always an honor to have all of you with me. Dark Goddess, namaste. So I talked to you about tricking the mind into believing that the thing that you want, you already have. I don't care what it is. And remember, you must do the oracle reading first to see if it's within your destiny to achieve it, because some things may be held from you. Okay, the next thing comes directly out of super accelerated learning. And I've talked about this in previous videos, but I want to revisit it because I think it's also very powerful. Now, he brings up a really awesome technique that I've used, and it works. And you can leverage this technique in your life. And this is also in my ebook, The New Capital Ankh. He goes, placing your desired future into your past. One fun technique that is actually quite powerful is to place something you desire to happen in the future into your past. So imagine something that resonates for you, something you desire. Normally, we create a distance between now and a desired future, which then creates the sense of lack, which then creates the feeling of lack. The feeling of lack then generates the lack of the reality, because what you are putting out there is not, I have this or I am this, but rather, I don't have this, I am not this. Sometimes the seeing of what you desire, the imagining of it, turning into your heart's reality, your true reality, can generate an even greater dissatisfaction, because many people have learned to focus on lack. So one crucial aspect of this is to diminish how much you focus on lack. Start focusing on abundance, regardless of how real or delusional it may seem to you. You must focus on the abundance of every moment. If you do, you will accelerate. In terms of visualization technique, you can then take whatever it is you imagine is not here yet and place it in your past. Imagine what it was like when it happened 10 years ago. It felt so good when it happened 10 years ago. Completely embody that imagination. This way, you are actually accelerating the downloading of the parallel reality frequency into your present frequency output. And when your present frequency output reflects that new imagination, your reality will have to mirror that. So actually feel what it was like 10 years ago to have that thing, that moment. Wasn't it awesome? Imagine the details, like how people responded. Place it as a real-time event in your past. You can actually change your past by placing your desired future in your past. Powerful, powerful. I love this. He's talking about commanding time and space, people. This is where you get into the meat and potatoes of magic. He's talking about commanding time and space, changing and rewriting your past so that the now moment aligns and mirrors that past. That's deep. So what you're doing now is you're rewriting your past and you're saying, you know, that $500,000 that I want, I got that 10 years ago. Man, that wasn't that great? That was so awesome when I got that. Man, it was unexpected. Oh, I remember all the things I did with that thing, with that money. I remember, I mean, the first thing I did was I took my 4 wives out to dinner. And my 5th wife, she was a little jealous because she had to stay home with the kids. And then after dinner, we went and saw a Broadway show. And then I rented a limo to take us home. And then I took the rest of the money and invested it. Wow, that was some great times. And you see, that's tricking the mind again. And the mind is like, huh? Huh? And the fact that you're embellishing that and you're making it real, then it's commanding the spirit to bring it to you. But let's take this to the next level, my Magi's. Let's take this to the next level. Let's get gangster. Let's get gangster on you. And I'm going to tell you a secret. And you need to write it down. Okay? Tell you a secret. All right? If you go to Las Vegas and you spend a little bit of time there, and when you leave, you're going to believe you had a great time. Now, I was interviewing a lot of people, and yes, I do research in this way. And the majority of people were saying how wonderful the feeling was. And even one woman who was a close friend of mine, she was telling me how she thinks they put something in the drinks because she felt so great being here. So I was studying up on all the great men in Vegas, Steve Wynn, Derek Stevens, and many more. And I even studied about the history of Vegas. And then I found out something very interesting that explained it all. What they were saying was that when you walk into the casino, they pump in, they bombard your senses with smells, pleasant smells, subliminal music, and lights and sounds. And that has an effect upon your psyche. So what I'm telling you is people of antiquity did the same thing. When they had the entire tribal community come together and they had the rituals with the drums, the smoke, the fire, the dancing, they were bombarding your senses. When I went into a Vegas club, and I go there a lot, I noticed that they have the smoke comes down, the lights, the music is so loud. And I'm like, this is a massive ritual. So I began to meditate while I was in the club and see my objective. You see, when you bombard your physical body with the senses, then what happens is it makes it more real. Because now you have sensory input to associate with the thing you want. And that's the final key to manifesting it. There's a reason why most people burn incense when they put together an altar or a shrine, because you're trying to awaken the senses. And when the senses are awake, your senses are your means of perceiving reality. Let me say it again. Your senses are the means to perceive reality. Without your senses, you wouldn't know what reality was. That's your connection. So if every time I imagine myself having the thing, the object of my desire, and my senses are getting bombarded every time I imagine that, then the indwelling spirit within me is going to manifest it, because it's so real. This is why a lot of people in the occult community, in the New Age community, who practice the law of attraction and the secret, it never works for them. Because I'll say to them, did you engage the senses? No. Well, it's not real to you then. You can visualize it, but your sensory input is not activated. So it's not real to you. Do you know what I mean? This is why I'm going back to why not only do I use this oil, Delphic Dreams, to take me into trance, but I use a variety of different oils to awaken my senses while I'm in trance. And I only use those oils when I am working on reality manifestation. Harun Nefer, JMO, no problem. He says, thank you for your video you made quite a while ago with all the book's suggestions. No problem, anytime. Strickland, Tapu, Mike Rizzi, namaste. That is one of the keys, is to engage the senses. Now let's go back to what we were talking about in super accelerated living. And this book is very motivational. If you're having trouble with manifesting or staying focused, get this book and read it. It's very, very inspiring. I mean, I was like, whoa, I'm hyped. But it's a quick read. It's not that thick. You can read this in a day or two. Now, what I do is when I work with people who are interested in reality manifestation, is we do hypnosis sessions. So what I do is I put them in a state of hypnosis or trance. And then I go and I give them suggestions while they're in that state, which tells them that they have the thing already. And whatever that's you experience in a state of trance, it's real. The mind believes it's real because it's such a deep state that you're in. And when you wake up from that state, even you think it's real. I remember one time I was messing around. I shouldn't have done this. And I was sitting in a hospital waiting room. And I had put myself into a deep state of trance. And I remember a nurse coming up to me and tapping me, and she woke me out to trance. And she says, okay, we'll see you now. And I looked at her and I said, I don't know where I'm at. I don't know what's going on. Because I was so deep in the trance, I transferred my consciousness to Charlottesville, Virginia. And when the nurse came to awaken me, I didn't realize what was going on because it was so real and authentic to me. So when I put people into a state of hypnosis, I can even rewrite their past. I can remove any traumas that they experienced in the past. When I went for, and I learned hypnosis from a certified hypnotherapist, he taught me, one of the first things I told him to do was to replace the memory of my family with a new family. So we wrote a script where I had a very caring and loving family that took care of me. And when I came out of that state, I couldn't remember my birth parents. I couldn't remember them. I can only remember the parents that we wrote the script to, the fictional parents. That was the only thing I could remember. And when you combine that with trying to achieve an objective and throw yourself into that hypnosis state, and you go deep, 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 then the spirit within you manifests it quicker because you believe you have it. You believe you have it. You are in such a deep state that you reject the reality that exists in favor of what was given to you as a post-hypnotic suggestion. This is why I love hypnosis. And this is why, if you understand the nature of reality, you're in a hypnotic state right now. We call that the matrix. Because the ruling elite is bombarding you with sound frequencies that it's throwing you into a trance state. And this is how you perceive the world based on those frequencies that they're sending out. And they're tricking you. And you're manifesting the things that they want. But if we could cut off that frequency, everything would change. Go see the movie They Live by John Carpenter. He talks about that in that movie. He reveals the secret. So, my beloved, I want you to think about that. Think about achieving your dreams. And I've given you various different techniques to do that. Now, I'm not saying you have to be gung-ho like me and lock yourself in the room and cut yourself off from your beautiful wives to meditate for 5-6 hours and deprive them of sex and they cry all night. I'm not saying you have to do that. That's just me. Because I'm crazy like that. Because I'm trying to reach a certain level, which is 5D. So if I'm working on something that I really, really want, I will isolate myself from everybody and then go into a room, set up my little altar, and be there for 5-6 hours in deep meditation trance and only see myself with that object of my desire, nothing else. And then when I come out and I walk out, and my wives go, "Are you going to spend some time with us?" I go, "No." I will then throughout the day visualize myself with that thing to cement the belief that I have it. Strong mind, strong body, fitness. I agree with you 100%. Dwa, that means thank you in the Kemetic language. Dwa. She says NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, should be used among African Americans across the diaspora. 110% I agree with you. That's how you command the spirit. Now, can I give you one more technique that'll take this to space and beyond? You guys want to hear it? Just type 1 into the chat box. Type 1 if you want to hear this next technique. Okay, no one type 1, so I won't give it to you. Anyway, moving on. So Linda Johnson, the Tepu, doorkeeper at Tepu. Okay, you type 1. All right. What if I went to, just say, for example, what if I went to my friend or friends and I say, "Hey, listen, I'm going to invite you over for dinner. And after dinner, I want you to meditate with us." And then I go, "Harry, Jack, Susan, listen, I want you to do me a favor. Me and my 13 wives, we're trying to get a big house. Would you sit down and meditate with us and visualize us getting that house?" And then, they say, "Sure, why not?" And I said, "In return, if there's something you want, we will come over to your house and we'll meditate too." See, the Bible says if 2 or more agree, so shall it be. Do you guys know what the Maharishi effect is? That is a study that they did where they had all of these people come together to meditate upon world peace. And after they did that, they saw the crime rate drop. Wars dropped. Terrorism dropped. Go look that up. There's a study that was published that goes into detail about that. It took place in the Middle East. If you get together with people of like mind and you all meditate and agree to meditate on a one objective, it will come to you quicker. Now, you can't get anybody who's a fancy pan, meaning that he says yes, he'll meditate on your behalf. And then when you're all meditating, you see a smirk on his face and he's thinking about something else. That won't work. Get him out. So you ain't got to go home, but you got to get the hell out of here. They all have to be in agreement. If two or more agree, so shall it be. That's the principle. That's the Ma'at principle. It also is the 100 monkey principle or syndrome. Research that. The Japanese mesquite monkeys, 1950. So there is no reason whatsoever that anyone in this chat room should not be able to achieve the things that they want in life. Stop depending on physical means to achieve it. Look at magic. People can take things from you. Did you know that? The IRS can come into your house and take your furniture. The government can issue martial law and imprison you. But the one thing they cannot take from you is your power. And that is the only thing in the end you can rely on. The only thing. You can get married and your mate will sue you for alimony, palimony, halimony, and you're done. You can be at work. Woman walks by, you say, nice dress. Next thing you know, you're being sued for sexual harassment. You're fired. This society can take everything from you. And that's their goal. But when you learn the practice of magic, then you become powerful. And they can never take that magic from you. Never. And it will always save you. It will not abandon you because your magic is God. And you can always depend on him, her, to get you out of situations. So my Magi's, practice. Practice. If you don't see the effects you want in the beginning, take heart, remain faithful, and keep going. Don't give up. Because this power is your legacy. This power is who you truly are. You're not the physical body. You're not the skin color. You're not the phenotype. You're not a political affiliation. You're not part of some economic status of middle class, lower class, upper class. You are consciousness. You are God. You are power. Claim that. The only thing you have to be concerned about is learning to use your power. And when you do, your life will become wonderful. I have people that piss me off all the time. I don't argue with them. I don't get into, a discussion about who's right, who's wrong. I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna deal with you. I'm gonna deal with you. I'm at peace. And I go home, I do a ritual. I can invoke a demon to deal with them. I can invoke a spirit that will help teach them a lesson. But I know that I'm powerful enough that I don't need to get into any physical altercation, any verbal dispute. I just tune into my God power. And I may, in most cases, I just shift to a new reality where they don't exist in that new reality because I don't want to deal with them. So if you're interested in working with me in my Trance Mastery Hypnosis program, there's a link in the description box where you can sign up. We also do the weekly free hypnosis sessions. Those ones have they're for everybody, and they're not specifically tailored for you as an individual. But when you sign up to work with me on a one-on-one basis, then I work with you on an individual basis to help you manifest what you're looking for. And that's more powerful. So I want to thank you, Magi's, for tuning in today. This went a little longer than expected, but it's always good. It's always groovy. This is Kasank Ma Keparu, son of Ma'at and Tahuti. My aunt is a beautiful goddess, Hedaru. Until my next broadcast, Amen Ra.